Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Thursday, July 22nd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Each passing day now, bigger numbers. COVID-19 cases continue to surge and hospitalizations are rising in San Diego County. Numbers just released are the highest yet. 717 new cases reported. That is following several days in the 400s and the 500s. But as KPBS reporter Melissa May tells us, county officials do not appear ready to change their guidance on mask wearing.
The numbers keep spiking. San Diego County reported almost 3,500 COVID cases last week. That's an 82% jump over the previous week. And more are ending up in the hospital. Dr. William Sang is a hospitalist at Kaiser Permanente, San Diego.
We're seeing it in both the ambulatory section and also in the hospital as well. So we are seeing cases steadily increase.
The number of hospitalized patients throughout the county jumped from 61 to 187 between June 21st and July 20th. But that is still far less than during last winter's surge, when nearly 1,000 people were hospitalized in a given day. Many of those admitted into the hospital now have one thing in common.
Over 80 to 90% are unvaccinated.
Only 20 fully vaccinated people countywide have been hospitalized since January, according to the most recent data. That compares to more than 5,200 people who weren't fully vaccinated. The dominance of the new Delta variant means those numbers will continue to increase. This variant spreads 2 to 3 times faster than COVID-19, and
the Delta variant is about 225% more transmissible because you have over 1,000 times more copies of the virus in you. You're going to cough out 1,000 more times of the virus. You're going to transmit more. So there's a strong correlation.
That's why Dr. Sang is in favor of San Diego County remandating mask wearing indoors, which LA County has already done. However, San Diego County officials say they are sticking with CDC and State Department of Health guidelines. They don't require indoor masking. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Could we see a change in mask mandates? That's a big question for many as the Delta variant continues to impact the U.S. This as the CDC forecasts some grim pandemic numbers. Here's Daryl Forges.
We have a pandemic for those who haven't gotten a vaccination.
The Delta variant placing a stronghold on the U.S. with COVID numbers surging. Wednesday, the CDC reported over 46,000 new cases.
The Delta variant is spreading with incredible efficiency and now represents more than 83% of the virus circulating in the United States.
The spread showing no signs of stopping. The CDC's ensemble forecast predicts deaths and hospitalizations will increase over the next 4 weeks.
Get vaccinated. It offers good protection against disease.
I would encourage people to get the vaccine. I have high confidence in it. I got it myself.
The White House announced additional resources to get more Americans vaccinated in rural areas.
We are sending $100 million to rural health clinics to support vaccine education and outreach efforts in these communities where we are generally seeing low vaccine uptake.
The money will also provide nearly 2,000 rural health clinics with additional resources. As the push to get shots in arms continues, there are reports of top Biden administration health officials considering indoor mask mandates for vaccinated Americans.
We are always looking at the data as the data come in.
It's a big question as children are preparing to return to class. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommend that everyone over the age of 2 should wear masks when they go back to school. Daryl Forges, KPBS News.
For more information about vaccinations and where to get one, visit our website, kpbs.org, and click on the vaccines link right on our homepage. Immigration continues to be a topic that cannot be agreed on. Today, community members in San Marcos rallied to deliver a message to their representative, Darrell Issa. Here's KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne.
We're outside of Darrell Issa's San Marcos District Office, where members of Justice Overcoming Boundaries and other community members wanted to deliver a message to their representative. They want Mr. Issa to address immigration in his district. The members say immigrants are just as American as apple pie and rice and beans. When they approached his office, the door was locked and there was no response. Over the phone, an intern said Mr. Issa and his chief of staff were both in Washington, D.C. today. Estela de los Rios says this response does not deter them and they will continue trying to deliver their message.
We're going to keep coming because we are voting and we're watching and we're going to hold him accountable because this is his district and the constituents that are here, we have to hold him accountable. And immigration is an issue that he needs to address, and we're going to keep coming back until he listens.
We did reach out to Mr. Issa's office for a response, but none was provided. In San Marcos, Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Vice President Kamala Harris is telling so-called dreamers not to lose hope, promising the Biden administration will do everything it can to create a pathway to citizenship. Today, she met with the group that included immigrants who benefited from the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program known as DACA. The program provides deportation protection for some undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Last week, a federal judge put the future of DACA at risk when he ruled it was unconstitutional.
Live with the level of uncertainty, to wonder whether there's a knock at the door and what will that mean for you, for your family. It's just wrong. Especially again when we are talking about young people who are contributing to their community, contributing to our society. It's just simply wrong.
President Biden has said the U.S. Department of Justice intends to appeal the DACA decision. How much should an education cost? The University of California is asking for an increase in the tuition rate it says is needed to provide for a quality education. The Board of Regents approved that request at today's meeting. The university says the tuition increase would benefit low and middle income families with more financial aid, but student groups oppose the hike. In-state undergrads will pay $534 more for fall of 2022. Base tuition and fees are currently more than $14,000 per year at UC San Diego. Former San Diego trustee Ty Humes wants his seat back, but voters will have to look past a checkered history. iNewsSource investigative reporter Jennifer Bowman has more.
Before he was recalled, Ty Humes' resume was so impressive that he was appointed to the San Diego School Board, but it appears the district didn't do its homework. iNewsSource found Humes held a fundraiser that left unpaid bills while he was at the Del Mar Schools Education Foundation. The nonprofit never saw any proceeds, and vendors are still owed nearly $30,000. Humes is now running for his former seat. He blames the bills on a sponsor who he says never paid up. Is this something that they should consider when they go to cast their votes?
No, because we look at the entire quote of a person. I've been there since 2007. We moved here when our daughter was 1 year old, our eldest. I've been involved ever since then.
San Diego's special election is in November. For KPBS, I'm iNewsSource investigative reporter Jennifer Bowman.
iNewsSource is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria is working to make sure the city's diversity is reflected in appointments to boards and committees. Since taking office, 70% of the people who have been selected to join one of the 40 boards and committees are people of color. Half of them are women. Louis Nguyen is part of the San Diego City Employee Retirement System. Not only does he have extensive experience with investments and pension management, he's also a refugee. He believes his experience will give another lens to the issues City Hall faces.
People's lived experiences in combination with their own professional expertise brings a mosaic approach to solving problems, fresh ideas, fresh energy.
The city has created an online portal to help make it easier to get involved. You can go to onboard.sandiego.gov to get information about what positions are available and, if interested, apply. Efforts to build a bridge over the San Diego River in Mission Trails Regional Park took a giant step forward today. The need for a bridge became more urgent after a young man died earlier this year while trying to cross the river. KPBS reporter John Carroll was at the park this morning for the big announcement.
Nearly 6 months after 21-year-old Max Lanai lost his life trying to cross the San Diego River in Mission Trails Regional Park, major news delivered by San Diego Councilmember Raul Campillo.
That Senate President Pro Tem Atkins was able to secure $1.5 million in this year's state budget to go to the Mission Trails Regional Park Foundation to help fund the bridge for Max.
This place of such breathtaking natural beauty became a place of heartbreak back in January. A strong winter storm moved in with heavy rain and hail. The San Diego River was surging. No one is sure, but his family believes Max slipped and fell. His body was found near the crossing.
We loved him, we miss him, and we will remember him.
Max's mother, Lori Yoler, and father, Ben Lanai, began their quest to build a bridge shortly after Max died. This was the first time they've been back here since shortly after their son's death. Today's $1.5 million grant will be combined with the $750,000 they've already raised to build a bridge that will look something like this. Councilmember Joe LaCava called it beautiful and functional. You could also add life-saving. A parent's grief over losing a child is something that's hard to imagine for most of us. Lori Yoler says some days she doesn't even want to get out of bed, but then she says she hears Max's voice, and his message is clear.
I heard Max's voice saying, you got to keep righting wrongs, and this is a wrong. Someone else could get hurt, so go do something about it.
We want to really mark that site and have something that is a very long-term testament to his life.
Ben Lanai says construction should start soon on the bridge for Max. There are environmental hurdles to cross, but the goal is to have it finished by March 26th of 2024, what would have been Max's 25th birthday. John Carroll, KPBS News.
14 cats are safe tonight after their owner agreed to hand them over to the San Diego Humane Society. Humane Society officers conducted a welfare check in Escondido and discovered the overwhelmed owner and his cats. They took 10 cats into their care and came back for 4 more later. The cats were taken to the Oceanside campus for evaluation. Once they're spayed or neutered and vaccinated, 6 of the cats will be returned to the owner, with the others being put up for adoption when ready. The Humane Society says it applauds the owner for realizing he needed their help. Oceanside will soon have its first year-round homeless shelter, but who will it be open to? KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne gives us the details of what we can expect to see early next year.
A school that once served at-risk students will soon serve Oceanside's homeless. Ocean Shores High School, located on Oceanside Boulevard in El Camino Real, will turn into the city's first year-round homeless shelter.
Didn't think we would get it, and in the end they selected us to be their service provider, and I can't tell you how excited we are.
Donnie D is the president of the San Diego Rescue Mission.
It's different for us because we own our properties, we own our assets, but what I love about this is it's an opportunity for the public and the private to work together on behalf of people who are living on the streets.
The Rescue Mission, which will operate the Oceanside shelter, currently operates a 360-bed shelter in downtown San Diego. While the San Diego location will serve as a model for the Oceanside shelter, there are some differences.
That property in Oceanside is going to be a drop-off facility. We'll work very closely with the HOT team in Oceanside, with their police department. We'll work very closely with other agencies, and they will refer people experiencing homelessness that need a place to stay to the San Diego Rescue Mission Ocean Shores campus.
The Oceanside shelter will be open to men, women, and families. Leanna Quirk and her husband have been homeless for over 4 years and are now staying in a donated RV. They know all too well the need for shelters for families.
There's nothing for families. That's the hardest part. Me and my husband are married 20 years. And even when we went to the hotel program, They said that they tried to offer us housing, in which no, they didn't. They kind of told us, well, would you guys be willing to separate and get rid of your dogs? And one of our things is that we'll do anything you ask us to do. You know, I have no problem doing that, but we don't want to be separated, and I can't get rid of my dogs.
Quirk's dogs became her support when she lost her children to foster care and when she started getting seizures. Quirk thinks the rescue mission's shelter will be great news to the homeless in the area.
I know a lot of people that want help, you know, and unfortunately they don't know how to get it.
The shelter will offer 50 beds with overnight and day use for 30 days.
And they'll have 30 days to stay there, and it'll be through that relationship that we'll figure out, do you need to go downtown and be a part of the long-term program? Do you need to go to detox? Do you need a skilled nursing facility? We'll do triage at these facilities and figure out what's their path forward.
The rescue mission's plans first start with a remodel of the existing facility.
It's got a bunch of individual rooms that were classrooms, and we will break up those rooms around gender and around family orientations.
But does the plan account for sexual orientation? Some people are raising the question. Max Disposti is the executive director of the North County LGBTQ Resource Center. He says a large part of the homeless population identifies as LGBTQ, and the lack of inclusiveness pushes them away from shelters.
You know, there is a reason why our population, queer population, prefers to sleep under the bridge, literally. You know, we're using public land resources. They're supposed to guarantee that protection.
Disposti says he's concerned the rescue mission's plan excludes the LGBTQ homeless.
It means, okay, what is your track record? What do you do when a trans person comes in? How do you protect them?
Disposti says community relationships are very important when it comes to referring people to agencies for help.
In order for us to do a referral to another service provider that can have services that we don't have, like housing and so forth, we ask a lot of questions. Says, okay, is your staff trained? If he's trained, who did the training?
Donnie D said the San Diego Rescue Mission has never denied access to services based on religious belief or sexual identity. He says he welcomes community partners to the Oceanside facility.
We're so committed to that approach that we'll actually have office space in our facility at Ocean Shores for other agencies, because we want that kind of relationship. This just isn't our thing. It's not just the San Diego Rescue Mission thing. It's the community of Oceanside project, and we want to serve that city well.
If approved, remodeling of the facility will start later this year, and the shelter is expected to be up and running by next year. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
A wildfire in Northern California has crossed state lines into Nevada. The Tamarack fire burning south of Lake Tahoe has charred more than 78 square miles. More than 1,200 firefighters are battling the fire, which has now destroyed 10 structures. New mandatory evacuations have been ordered, and a new evacuation center has been set up in Gardnerville, Nevada. The Tamarack fire erupted on the 4th of July and was just one of nearly 24 blazes that had been sparked by strikes of lightning. The already historic drought is getting worse. The U.S. Drought Monitor report released today shows more than 2/3 of the western U.S. is dealing with extreme or exceptional drought. That's the highest level ever recorded. Conditions are expanding significantly in the Pacific Northwest. Summer monsoon rains are expected to offer some relief in Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado.
And a good evening as we talk about Southern California's weather. Do expect tranquil conditions to prevail, near average numbers over the next few days. Expect some morning fog daily, on a daily basis anyway, with afternoon sunshine. But we're keeping an eye areas to the east with mountain thunderstorms as we continue to see the monsoonal showers and storms pop up across the deserts and kind of expand out towards us, but mainly across the mountains. We're not seeing anything on the coast anytime soon. So for the metro forecast tonight, partly cloudy, 70 degrees for that overnight low. Overall, a quiet night for many other places to the east as well. Borrego Springs will be into the mid-80s at night, so very toasty in those desert locations. Upper 60s around Oceanside under a partly cloudy sky. So future forecast really keeps quiet skies in place, but note again right along the immediate coastline here, we're going to watch that marine layer fill in early on your Friday morning, and then back to the west, or the east I should say. We are keeping an eye on the future forecast here where some showers and thunderstorms could bubble up but most areas nearby should stay a little quiet. Just an isolated risk there for a shower or thunderstorm around Mount Laguna. So travels take you I-10. You could be bumping into a couple of storms later into the day, but dry and comfortable weather here for you in San Diego and Chula Vista, as we'll be closer to the 80-degree mark after that morning fog. Now, the southwest overall, we see this increase in moisture throughout the southwest. And like I said, some of that is going to be heading closer to San Diego, but mainly across the mountains. Coastal regions stay totally dry here over the next several days. We'll look at numbers in the upper 70s here, overnight lows in the mid 60s. Periods of sun and some morning fog will be expected. Inland spots just a little bit warmer as to be expected, with those numbers topping out into the middle 80s here. And then let's take you up towards, say, the mountain country, that's where we see the chance for a stray thunderstorm Friday. And then once again into your Sunday. Desert spots are baking yet again. For KPBS, I'm meteorologist Chris Nellen.
In a move to reduce wildfires, California's Pacific Gas and Electric will now bury 10,000 miles of power lines. PG&E is the nation's largest utility company. It's also responsible for sparking some of the deadliest and most destructive wildfires in state history. The current Dixie Fire, now burning, may have been caused by its equipment. PG&E was held criminally responsible for the deadly 2018 Camp Fire. Children under the age of 12 are not yet eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, and some of them are testing positive for the virus. Reporter Lise Mitri talked to a Sacramento mom who's now urging everyone to wear masks to protect unvaccinated kids.
This is Grace. Say hi.
Hi. Grace, her mom, Emily Baker Hurley, and the rest of the family tested positive for COVID-19, even though
I was pregnant throughout most of this pandemic, so we were really cautious.
Then in April, she and her husband got their second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, a relief, especially for her husband, a drummer with a couple bands in Sacramento.
It's really hard for a musician not to play music. And we talked about it and felt like that was something that we could do now that we were vaccinated, and we felt safe enough to do that.
After playing a show, he had symptoms, nothing severe, but then their two daughters got sick, a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old.
The kids have been really, really sick, 103 fevers, diarrhea and vomiting. It's been especially scary with a baby.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says child COVID cases exceeded 23,000 from July 8th through the 15th, nearly double what was reported in late June.
The COVID cases are really shifting to younger ages, and that's because we've done a very good job of vaccinating the older age groups.
Dr. Dean Blumberg says vaccines do a good job to protect against COVID and an even better job preventing severe cases that lead to hospitalization or death. Even then, the vaccines aren't going to be 100% effective. So doctors say, especially if you're around people who are vulnerable, like children who are too young to get vaccinated, wearing a mask indoors or in crowded places can add that extra layer of protection. It's another precaution Baker Hurley wishes she and her husband had continued to take even after getting vaccinated.
It's been hard. It's been really hard. I wish we would have done things differently.
On the NewsHour summer surge, the U.S. Surgeon General on this next phase of the pandemic, coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
So tech billionaires are doing it. So when will flying into outer space become affordable for the rest of us? Steve Nannis takes a closer look at the hurdles standing in the way and how soon commercial space travel may become a reality.
Commercial space tourism, a pipe dream or a real possibility? Former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos and Virgin Galactic CEO Richard Branson, who both launched into space this month, say they're ready to start offering trips to outer space.
I mean, it was just like the most incredible dream.
But experts agree affordable space flights for the masses are decades away at best. Virgin Galactic's July 11th launch carried just 4 passengers and 2 pilots. It has sold about 600 tickets for future flights at up to $250,000 each. On Tuesday, Bezos and 3 others flew slightly higher into outer space on the New Shepard rocket. Bezos' Blue Origin space company has already booked nearly $100 million in tickets for future space flights, Bezos said. A major hurdle is getting enough space travelers to get into those rockets in order to spread out the cost.
You've got to do it the same way we did it with commercial airline travel.
Bezos suggested spacecrafts would need to carry a lot more people to make the flights widely affordable.
These are, biplanes, and they're flying into a farmer's field and charging a small price to fly people around for a few minutes in the air. That's what we're doing right now. But you know where that barnstorming phase leads? To 787s.
But experts say there also needs to be significant demand for space travel to fill the seats on those larger crafts, no matter the price. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Steve Nanis.
Here's another look at today's top stories. COVID-19 cases continue to surge and hospitalizations are rising in San Diego County. Today, 717 new infections were reported. Almost 3,500 cases were reported last week, an 82% jump over the previous week. And more people are ending up in the hospital. So far, county officials haven't indicated that they will change guidance on mask wearing. And a local social justice group rallied outside Congressman Darrell Issa's office in San Marcos today. They're calling on him to support a permanent pathway to citizenship. They say his district is largely immigrants who have long requested immigration reform. Issa was in Washington, D.C. today and did not respond to our request for comment. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.